How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another Prehistoric Kingdom Dev Diary episode. The November Dev Diary just released, and there's a lot of really cool things that they revealed. I'm not going to be able to take a look at everything because I am kind of pressed for time right now, but I want to talk about some of my main highlights from this Dev Diary. Obviously, this was already revealed. I didn't get the chance to talk about it when it was, but I'm definitely going to talk about it right now. This is the lovely Tiktaalik. Tiktaalik was a type of fish that seemed to have fins that were adapted for crawling onto the land as well. I love the fact that it's included here because I really do love Tiktaalik. Look at this fella. Look at that face. And they really captured it nicely. That sort of arrowhead flat face that it has with these high eyeballs basically, and the quality of the scales and just all of that, and this environment that it exists in looks amazing. These are animals that I'm very excited to like build little vivariums for, or little terrariums for. I think it's going to be really, really cool. Yeah, no, Tiktaalik's a really fantastic little creature. It still has gills, but it had limbs that were like on the wave of becoming a little bit more terrestrial, which is still so flipping cool. So we're looking forward to update 16 with the beautiful Yishi right here. I love Yishi. It's such a fascinating little dinosaur. It existed in China, and you'll notice how different it looks. Very dragon-like, of course, or very wyvern-like, as some folks would state, because it does have this little membrane right here that's very bat-like, as well as like with the feathers. It's possible that it would use that membrane to kind of glide from tree branch to tree branch, and they just captured everything about it very nicely. I actually have like a little replica of a Yishi skeleton up on that top shelf, done in collaboration with BioBuild Studios. It's such a cool little animal. They got the elongated fingers right here. I love the coloration that they gave it, the sort of yellows right here with the black stripe going down right here and the reddish coloration over here, these stripes back here. Everything about it is just glorious, and I can't wait to include these animals. Some cool color, like they mentioned right here that all the way back in 2021 is when they were first designing this animal, and it wasn't until now that we finally get to see it. Here's like their first design for it back in 2021. Still pretty consistent nowadays. Like the coloration remained fairly consistent. It's just it seems like the size and the skeletal structure changed a little bit. I love both of them, really. Such beautiful animals. Look at that. Isn't that cool? That is so cool. I love how they did the face. The face, they nailed the face. They have that like those little needle-like teeth, perfect for grasping some bugs and eating some bugs. Here's more of the Tiktaalik. I love the little shine that it has on its scales. Very much seems like a little aquatic fella. And the colors are really nice too. Some green up here, more browns down here. Very nice. They say right here, if it's not on land, you'll commonly catch Tiktaalik below the surface, exploring its aquatic domain. It's great exercise for Grandpa. Look at that. Look at it swim around. Wow, I believe this is like our first like mostly aquatic animal in the game. Look how nice this environment looks too. Wow. And we're gonna be able to place stuff in our parks like this. Non-final locomotion. Well, it already looks pretty darn good. That looks so cool. I seriously love that. I'm already very excited about that. Making a home. Since vivariums are quite a small space to build, we've designed a system that allows players to quickly add or remove nature with just a couple clicks. I love that. I'm glad. I love that sort of stuff. I love making things a little bit easier for my dumb brain. Depending on the chosen environment, there are a variety of nature presets that can be made more or less dense. These options can be freely mixed and matched, or even include Mesozoic plants if they've been unlocked. If you're not happy with how the items have been placed, you can even set or randomize the vivarium seed, redistributing your nature pieces. I love that. That's very cool. That offers a lot of cool different designs that you can include. Not everything's going to be the same, which is beautiful. Of course, if you're more of a sandbox builder, you can always turn off the generated nature or simply add your own touches on top of A. So you could do what you want. You could basically, that's why Prehistoric Kingdom's awesome. That's why it's the GOAT. Yeah, here's a little bit of how it works. I like that. I really like that. Plus, I love that we can finally start having some small creatures in the game. Because a lot of zoos, they'll have like full buildings filled with things like this. It's something that just kind of adds to your zoo, makes it look a little bit more complete than it was before, because beforehand you would just have these huge enclosures with relatively large animals, some of them smaller, like Psittacosaurus and whatnot, but nothing really quite as small as like Compsognathus, Yishi, Tiktaalik, and Simosuchus, which are some of the fellas that will be arriving. Look how nice this looks. This looks so much better than the previous Archaeopteryx enclosure. Like the previous pre-built, the trees with the Archaeopteryx, they were fine, but it was always worth it to kind of like make your own touches to it. This in and of itself is already really great. When it comes to enrichment items, these can be toggled within the same menu. Each vivarium comes with its own predetermined enrichment spots and that add new locations for animals to explore. For example, the Compsognathus can jump up onto logs, and your Microraptors can glide to climbing frames. I love it. These are very nice. And look at that. Look at that. Look at these. Look at this. Oh, that's a log. But look at this guy over here. Look at him. Isn't he cool? All vivariums above were made using a mix of hand placement and auto generation. So yeah, you can really make your own thing here. That's beautiful. One of our favorite items is the arboreal tree. When disabled, the perch looks more like something you'd see in a real zoo. Turn it on, however, and your flyers are right at home. The vibe is up to you. Look at that. Default, something you would see in regular trees, or the arboreal tree. Dress it up look a little bit, make it look a little bit more realistic. We should also mention that all of these enrichment items will be available as separate decorative modular pieces, so you can put them in other locations. That's awesome. Enlightening. And so after all that, vivariums are almost done. We're currently working on the management side of things and are animating the remaining species. We really like how the system turned out and love its flexibility, especially when it comes to things like the null styling and enrichment. To finish the work on their customization, players can also change the vivarium's light color. This is perfect for making reptile houses or nocturnal habitats. We cannot wait to see what you do with them. I can't wait to see what everybody does with them. Look at this. Talk about ambiance. Wow. And especially with the backgrounds back here. Might steal some of those ideas from my fossils and archaeology playthrough. Vets and diseases. We've known that something like this is coming like for a while. Obviously, soon your animals will be able to start getting sick, and you're going to have veterinarians that have to take care of them. It's mentioned that some of like a lot of these like really like these common sicknesses, you have to catch them early before they turn into something a little bit more severe. Like it says right here, most diseases can be treated early to stop them developing into something much worse, e.g., the common cold into pneumonia. For this, you'll need a special type of staff member. So yeah, there's like the common cold, silicosis, roundworms, plant toxicosis, mites. So all kinds of very interesting things. To identify and deal with diseases in the park, players will need to hire vets. Their primary task is to walk around and automatically survey habitats, alerting the player to issues that as they arise. So good, they get to do most of the work. If an animal becomes sick and they have not been recently surveyed by a vet, the player will not be aware that something is wrong until the next survey. Despite this, many illnesses will show physical symptoms such as sneezing, skin irritation, lethargy, or frequent droppings. If the player notices or thinks something is wrong, they have the option to manually call a vet to visit the animal. I like that. Like walking around, your T-Rex is sneezing. It's like, huh, you don't normally sneeze. Vet, get on over there. I like that. When the disease has been found, vets will medicate animals from a distance or sedate them and use the new medicine resource to treat them in the field. A sick animal cannot lose its survey status until all its issues have been cured. Very good. Preventing diseases. As vets inspect your habitats and vivariums, they'll also check the cleanliness of any feeders, water troughs, and bedding within an area. The less spread out these modules are in the enclosure, the quicker the process will be. Okay. Dirty modules are a potential source of disease. So if they're found, keepers will be called to clean them in the case of feeders' food and will be completely thrown out and replaced if the disease is identified. Wow. So there's like a lot to keep in mind here. Players can also add supplements to feeders by using the medicine delivered by vents. Wow. Once ingested, animals will receive temporary buffs depending on what the player has enabled. So there's like vitamins, steroids, mating booster, mating suppressant, and mutagen. Okay. research and quarantine. Obviously, you'll have to like quarantine your animals. While vets can deal with basic illnesses right away in the field, some advanced ailments might need the player to explore new treatment options. This first starts with researching the quarantine bay, a module that's required to treat certain things like bird flu, sepsis, or eventually in U17, which is the next update, or the update 17, broken bones. So animals are going to be able to break their bones. Oh no! Once an animal has been moved to, I wonder if it's going to be, because isn't combat coming in update 17? I could be wrong, but like broken bones could be caused by something like, I don't know, an ankylosaurus clubbing you or something. Once an animal has been moved into a quarantine bay, this will give your vets a sterile place to work while also protecting nearby animals from any contagious diseases. A quarantine bay must be stocked with medicine in order to treat the animals. As you can see below, all of the mid to late stage illnesses either must be researched or perform treatment in the field, or entirely rely on the quarantine bay. To prevent the worst from happening, you'll want your vets to be You'll want your vets available. Habitat spotless, and this research tree completed. And then, oh, look at this. Next year, you could already tell it's going to be a good year next year for Prehistoric Kingdom. Since this is our last dev diary of the year, for the year, we wanted to briefly talk a little bit about 2026. If you've been keeping up with the roadmap, you'll know that after U16, Prehistoric Kingdom will be 2 major updates away from full release. Hear that? Final countdown, everybody. Final countdown. There are a few new features here and there that are not yet to be revealed, but the biggest headlines for next year will definitely be hunting, combat, and breakouts. These remaining updates are going to be substantial and very time-consuming, but they'll finally bring all the pieces together. By the end of 2026, Prehistoric Kingdom should be mechanically complete. That's insane. That was a lot sooner than I thought. That's crazy. In terms of next year's roster, it's finally time for Stegosaurus. This Jurassic Classic will be arriving with 4 different designs, 2 for Stegosaurus stenops and 2 for Stegosaurus ungulatus. We can't wait to show you how the others look. I love it so far. Nice design. I love the coloration of this one. This one is, of course, for stenops. The plates look amazing. Coloration's really nice. I love the little colors on the thagomizers as well, or the thagomizer. It's a collection of them. Nice counter shading and everything. I love it. I love it. I've been really excited for the inclusion of Stegosaurus, another thyreophore into the game, The 3D model will have different proportions to the concept art. Really? What's wrong with these proportions? I guess the head's a little bit too big. We'll see. Its contemporary predator, Allosaurus, will also be stalking its way into the game. This ferocious predator will have 4 different alt species, each with their proper skull, shape to make it one of the most diverse and deadly animals in Prehistoric Kingdom. Wow, that's cool. And it's going to have 4 different species. So let's see here: Fragilis, Europaeus, Gemetsini, and Anax. So it looks like Saurophaganax is going to be Allosaurus anax here, I'm sure. That's cool. This one's Fragilis. And of course, there's that whole thing that the European species might actually be Fragilis, but we don't quite know yet. Anyway, so far, looks really, really good. I love the colors that it has. I love red crests. Red crests are always really cool, especially for Allosaurus. The arms look great. Everything looks great. I cannot wait to see those animals in the future. I've especially just been waiting so long for Stegosaurus. It was in that trailer way back when, but I think they had to completely redo it. So far, they're looking amazing. I'm loving them so far, and I can't wait to see their final models. So far, in terms of the critters, as far as the critters go, everything's looking great. I love the Yishi. We saw Simosuchus not too long ago. We saw Compsognathus not too long ago. Tiktaalik also looks amazing. Everything's looking fantastic with this game. I cannot wait for these new updates to come out. We're very close to things like combat and hunting, which is gonna really with how complicated they make things, in terms of how the animals interact with each other. I can only imagine that hunting and combat is going to be something special in this game, so I cannot wait to see it. But that's pretty much all I have for this one. I ended up covering everything. I thought I didn't have time, but I was watching as I was going, and so yeah, we just checked out everything. A lot of really cool stuff coming up. Can't wait to see it all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have an awesome day.